Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's your boy, Libertarian Election Predictions, back at again with another video. Today, I will be doing a pretty unlikely scenario, 2024 scenario, between Willard Mitt Romney and Joe Manchin III. As you can see, both of them will not receive the nomination, obviously, but what if they received a nomination, then we'll see, what happens. Anyway, guys, if you guys haven't subscribed, please do. We're lagging in subscribers, guys, and I don't think it looks like, guys. Unfortunately, we're not going to meet our goal of 50 subscribers by tomorrow. But unfortunately, guys, this is why I keep subscribing because. But I'm not forcing you guys to subscribe. But if you guys like it, please do consider. Anyway, guys, so let's do our unlikely scenario between Mitt Romney and Joe Manchin. So Mitt Romney, his safe states. Utah, obviously, I think would be safe. I think he'd do extremely well in Utah. Him being a Mormon conservative, I think that's gonna help him. Much of the Western United States will be pretty solid for Romney. Kansas, I'm kind of debating because I think Manchin could appeal to some rural voters that came out for Trump, but that won't come out for Romney. But I think at the same time, I do see Joe Manchin sacrificing some support in the suburbs. Although Romney 2024 is not going to be the same way as he was Romney 2012. Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana. Although I think Arkansas and Louisiana would narrow down, I think they gotten pretty red to the point that it's going to be hard. I would say Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky. Actually, maybe not Kentucky. I don't think Kentucky would be safe. Mississippi, and I believe that's all I see. I think Alaska will be safe. I think Alaska loves neocons. So like Mitt Romney would be an excellent fit for Alaska. He would be an excellent fit. So Joe Manchin safe states California. I think California will be a lot closer. I think it's gonna be like Obama 2008 margins, but I think California is still pretty blue, so I think it's still gonna vote for Manchin by a safe margin. I see New York voting for Manchin by a safe margin, although I think he'll regress a bit in the NYC suburbs, but I think it will still be a safe margin. Oops, not New Jersey. Sorry, guys, my bad. Connecticut, the rich white liberals are gonna come out for Manchin. Rhode Island, Massachusetts. Oops, why do I keep misclicking, guys? I'm so sorry, but I just keep misclicking for some reason. Delaware, Maryland, DC are all probably going to be safe for Manchin. I think Illinois will be safe, Hawaii will be safe, and Maine's first will be safe for Manchin. So right now Manchin has 147 safe electoral votes to Mitt Romney's 77. So Mitt Romney's likely states, they include Kansas, Missouri, Kentucky, and South Carolina. I can say those will be likely for Mitt Romney. Kansas, pretty obvious. Kansas is a very rural state, but at the same time, I think Romney would do far worse than Trump in rural areas. And Missouri, I think Missouri, Manchin would definitely do a lot better. He's pro-life, he's socially conservative, so I think he's going to appeal to ancestral Democrats that Mitt Romney doesn't have. But I think Missouri's gotten pretty red to the point that even if you can still notch a good amount of rural voters, I still believe that Mitt Romney will still have an advantage unless you run some complete nut job. The Republicans at least run some complete nut job, but I think Missouri's gonna stay red, even though Manchin will probably do much better than another Democrat like Joe Biden. Kentucky, I think that would be likely because Manchin's from neighboring West Virginia, so neighboring state advantage. I think Manchin would have. Plus, Manchin, I could see him effectively connecting to the voters better than Mitt Romney, as Romney will be seen like as an elitist in the eastern Kentucky coalfields. But I think Kentucky is still a red state, so. But I do believe it would kind of narrow down under Mitt Romney as the nominee. I also see Indiana being likely red. Indiana is a pretty rural state, pretty rural. I think pretty conservative in its politics too, but I definitely think Manchin will definitely do a lot better in rural Indiana, but I do see Romney doing better in the Indianapolis suburbs. So I think Romney will carry the state of Indiana by about 11 to 12%, in my humble opinion. And I think that's all I see for Mitt Romney. For Joe Manchin's likely states, Washington and Oregon would be likely. I know you guys would normally think Washington, Oregon would be safe Democratic states, but I don't see them being safe. Washington is definitely pretty progressive in its politics, so they're not going to turn Washingtonians will not turn out for someone like Joe Manchin, who is pretty conservative, so he's going to alienate the progressive voters here who overwhelmingly voted for Sanders. Some may come out just holding their nose voting for Manchin, but I definitely see a lot of those progressive voters not coming out. Same thing in Oregon. I definitely see a lot of those same progressive voters who, if Bernie was the nominee, would have came out. But under someone like Manchin, I don't think they will come out as much. I definitely see New Jersey being likely margin. Although I think Manchin would do a lot better in the southern part of the state, which is pretty rural and is trending red. But I think Romney would do pretty well in the New York City suburbs. Like New Jersey's a relatively suburban state, relatively wealthy state too. So I think Romney being an elitist might actually kind of help him in the state. And Maine at large, seeing that being likely, I think Manchin's a great candidate for Maine. Like Maine isn't like very progressive, but it's not very moderate. But I think Manchin will probably appeal to voters here. It depends on how he runs his campaign, though. But I see New Hampshire also being likely. And I know that Mitt Romney, being former governor of Massachusetts, might help him. But again, I think New Hampshire is a pretty fiscally conservative state, so I think that's going to kind of help Manchin. Plus, New Hampshire does typically lean Democratic too, so I think that's what's going to be going in Manchin's favor. So, ooh, I actually think one more likely state. I think Texas, the state of Texas, will be likely. Romney's going to do a lot better in the Dallas suburbs, which have been trending blue recently. He's also going to do better in the Houston area, so that will make Texas a likely state. But I don't think it'll be anywhere near 15 points or something. The margin that Romney defeated Manchin by. Oh, oops, not Manchin, but Obama by. So that's one state I gotta add, and I would see Michigan being likely. Manchin will definitely connect these to these voters a lot better than Romney. Plus, Romney got destroyed in Michigan in 2012, and I'll also say Pennsylvania would be likely Democrat. I would see Manchin definitely doing a lot better in Southwest Pennsylvania, which has been trending red, and it was actually pretty blue, even though Dukakis wasn't like a conservative on social issues, but Dukakis ran on a social liberal platform, kind of like very similar to my platform. So he did very well here. So I think Manchin could definitely connect to these voters very effectively that Mitt Romney can't do. Lastly, I see Minnesota being likely. It's pretty educated. It's not. I don't see it going red in like a while unless those educated voters start flocking to the Republicans. And I know Manchin has a lot of likely states. I know it's a lot of likely states for you to eat either candidate, but still, both of these candidates are not going to be liked in their parties. For Manchin, the progressives will be angry and will not turn out, but for Romney, the Trumpers will not come out. So it's going to be kind of low turnout, but each will do better in one specific region. I see Manchin being more of a Rust Belt candidate, whereas Romney's more like of a suburban candidate, more Sunbelt like candidate. So these are all the likely states for Manchin. So with all that, Mitt Romney has 161 electoral votes. Joe Manchin has 241. Sorry guys if my voice isn't feeling that great. I don't know why. It's pretty late where I live, so yeah, I just like doing videos pretty late. Anyway, so Mitt Romney's lean states. I would say Arizona and Georgia would be lean in favor of Romney. Well, Romney did pretty well in Arizona and Georgia in 2012. He did pretty well there, but I say those states are still trending blue, so it doesn't erase the fact that those states are trending blue. So I think Romney will do worse comparatively to 2012. But I see Mitt Romney having more suburban appeal than Manchin. So I think that will be enough to take back Arizona and Georgia from the Democrats. And I do see West Virginia being a lean margin for Romney. I know if West Virginia is Manchin's home state, and he's senator from West Virginia, but I believe West Virginia has gotten pretty red to the point that it's very difficult for it to vote Democrat unless Republicans suddenly change their position on the environment. Where Republicans become environmentalists, and then the West Virginians flock back to the Democrats. But I still see Romney winning West Virginia by about 4 to 5% over Manchin, even though he represents the state. But it's still Manchin's in the lead, even without his home state. Although it could be pretty bad for him that he loses his home state, but you know, West Virginia, you can't blame the trends, right? If trends are clear, and polls are gonna probably favor Romney in West Virginia. So, and I also see North Carolina being a lean margin. I think Romney will do better in the Raleigh and Charlotte suburbs. So, like Cabarrus County, which actually voted for Trump by about 9% in 2020. I think Romney would do a lot better against someone like Manchin. But again, they're still trending blue. It doesn't erase the fact that they're trending blue, but I think Manchin would do it better in like the ancestrally Democratic areas, like Robeson and Bladen County. I think you'd also do in southeast North Carolina, which has been historically Democrat. So, like, I can like show you some statistics later, but they were pretty Democratic. They were like one of the most Democratic places in the nation at one point. So Joe Manchin's lean states. I would say New Mexico would be lean. I don't know how Manchin appeals to Hispanics. I think if he appeals to them well, I think he can do well. But I think Romney would try to make a play in New Mexico because, you know, because both of them are pretty similar on the environment. I would say Romney's more conservative on the environment, but I think it still is a Democratic state. Turnout will be lower though from on Manchin's side. And I see Nevada also being a lean D state. And again, I don't know how Manchin will do well with Hispanics or not, but Nevada's typically leans Democrat. It's a swing state, typically leans Democrat. So I think Manchin. It'd be fair to say Manchin probably wins Nevada by around 3 to 4 points, 3.5% over Mitt Romney. And Virginia, I also see that being a lean as a lean D state. Like, although the suburbs are definitely gonna come out for someone like Romney will probably not win them, but I do see him improving compared to Trump. Virginia's suburbs like neoliberals and neocons. Wisconsin, I see that being a lean margin. Wisconsin is trending red, but I think Manchin could effectively connect to the voters compared to Romney. Plus, Romney, even though Paul Ryan was on the ticket, still lost Wisconsin by a pretty comfortable, by a handily margin by about 6%. So I believe Manchin could effectively connect to the Wisconsin voters well, to the Wisconsin electorate, better than someone like Romney, who would just be viewed as like an elitist. He'd be just viewed as an elitist. Although, personally speaking, Joe Manchin is really an elitist, but I think, because of him, being part from a state in the Rust Belt, I think he'll definitely connect to them a lot better. And so Manchin has won the election with Wisconsin being the tipping point state. And I think the final lean state, I think Iowa would be lean. Although Iowa typically has been pretty Democratic, it went to the caucus by about 10 points, even though George H.W. Bush won in a landslide in 1988, it still voted reliably Democrat. And Iowa has been trending red recently, but I think Manchin definitely has the rural appeal. Plus, Iowa isn't like Missouri, where you have a lot of evangelicals. Iowa doesn't have that many evangelicals. Maybe certain areas have a lot of evangelicals, but I'm not saying all evangelicals vote conservative. That's not true. There is definitely some evangelicals that vote blue, of course, but But typically speaking, that is probably one of the most reliably Republican electorates. But I could definitely see Manchin appealing very well in rural Iowa, and Romney did not do well in 2012. So yeah, so Mitt Romney's tilt states. I don't think he has any tilt states. I think he'd probably carry Nebraska second, probably by lean margin, because I think it's going to be gerrymandered. So I think Romney will take Nebraska second. Plus, with his suburban appeal, I think he's going to do well. So I'd say Maine's first congressional district would probably tilt in favor of Manchin. It's getting red and redder every day, but I think Manchin's like that, like a would being like an ancestral Democrat could connect very well to Maine second, which has a lot of ancestral Democrats. And I probably see Ohio being tilt. I know Ohio is trending red, but I think Manchin being from neighboring West Virginia will really help him. Plus, he can. I think he'd do a much better job at connecting to the Ohio electorate than Romney. Plus, Romney lost Ohio by 3%, so I think Manchin would do about similar to Obama, but I think it's going to be closer. It's going to be close though, regardless. But in the end, I do see Manchin eking out a win because he's from neighboring West Virginia, and he will definitely be able to connect to the Ohio electorate a lot better than someone like Mitt Romney. And Florida, they're in the great state of Florida. Oh my gosh, this one's a hard one because usually polls do say Democrats winning, but at the end of the day, the Republicans win. Like kind of like what happened to in the Gillum versus DeSantis. Gillum was heavily favored, but DeSantis won. But it's Florida. Although I think Manchin, because it can be reasonably won by Romney or Manchin. Like Romney came very close to winning it actually in 2012. I think had Florida voted 1 point more Republican, had the entire country did, I think Florida would have definitely been a Republican. Would have Florida would have gave its 29 electoral votes to Romney, but although I think I would narrowly give it to Manchin because Romney does not have that appeal in the panhandle. While I do believe he'll do very well, I think he doesn't have that same level of panhandle appeal. So turnout will definitely be down in the panhandle. Plus, the socialism label can't be really used against Manchin. Maybe if you are running against someone like AOC, yeah, maybe for Republicans you may attack her and call her a socialist. I personally do not think she's a socialist. If you're actually going deep down, she's actually a welfare capitalist. Actually, she's just a welfare capitalist. You know, but I don't know why is this socialism myth is like entangled on anyone. Like Bernie. Like guys, let me get this to the record. Bernie Sanders is not a socialist. If anything, he's just a welfare capitalist. He's not like a guy who wants to seize the means of production or nationalizing anything. He doesn't want to do that. But I think on Manchin, Romney can't call him a socialist because he's pretty conservative. So, the voters will think Romney's out of touch. So, that's my prediction. I think Manchin wins 329 to 209. Let me guys know if you disagree, and guys, please comment down on why you disagree. If you disagree, other than that, if you guys do agree with me, smash that like. If you didn't like it, smash a thumbs down. I will see you guys all in the next video. And guys, I am trying to work on an election night, although I'm feeling pretty lazy because it takes a lot of work, and plus, I just don't feel like doing it. But I'll probably do one Senate election night, maybe mini election Senate election night where I do all state calls, but that'll probably be after this video. And you guys subscribe if you haven't. Please guys watch it. It's not gonna be hard, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Libertarian election predictions out.